folks you can trust.
This is a Steckline Communications station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Continental Truck Accessories, 6701 South Broadway. Show your truck some love with Continental Truck Accessories.
Good afternoon, I'm Andy Hooser. Well, the Convoy of Hope in Wichita is preparing for one of its biggest events of the year, as they're set to provide food and school supplies for thousands of individuals starting this Friday. And it's something they say they look forward to every single year.
I think every year we're not going to get emotional, right? And then we all get together and we want to do something for someone else. But what happens is that it affects us. We leave here going, we're so glad that we get to be a part of showing someone else that there's someone in this city, someone in this community that really cares for them.
That was Stacy Cathcart, the executive director of Convoy of Hope Wichita, on Cake News. The Kansas Star Casino is set to provide all the food, and they say they still need a lot of help packing up supplies ahead of the event, which you can find more information at volunteerkansas.org. In other news, the Kansas Supreme Court upheld a ruling on Friday for most of the convictions against a Wichita woman for torturing and killing a man in a crime that the judge said, quote, was horrific beyond imagination. Cake News reports that Heidi Hillard was sentenced in 2018 to life in prison without the possibility of parole for 50 years. Now let's go to sports.
As expected, Texas and Oklahoma announced their intentions to leave the Big 12 earlier this morning. In a statement, the program said they would not renew their grant of rights agreement, which expires in 2025. That marks the first step for UT and OU to make their way to the SEC, though the exact timetable for that transition is not known at this time. The additions of Texas and Oklahoma would make the SEC the first 16-team super conference and also add massive brand power to a league already seen as one of the best in college sports. From the KGSO Sports Desk, I'm Adam Cook.
Summit Tech Home Improvement of Wichita has windows in every style and every budget. Summit Tech of Wichita offers professional window replacement, and the installers are among the best in the industry. At Summit Tech, you'll find many brands and options to choose from, and these aren't knockoffs. They're the top brands like Pella, Anderson, and Windsor. And aside from the comfort, aesthetics, and ease of cleaning, new windows offer a major selling point and boost your home's value if you put it on the market. Summit Tech, online at WichitaPaintingAndRemodeling.com. Scott Child's Old Time Clock Shop, 1946 West 13th Street in the heart of Riverside. It's not just a name of a shop. Scott Child started the shop back in 1974. He has perhaps the best inventory of all kinds of clocks that he's ever had in his business. That means great selection for you. If you've never checked it out, you owe it to yourself. Scott Child's Old Time Clock Shop.
At Napa, we keep things moving. If it has wheels and an engine, we help keep it on the road. And if it's on the road, we have parts for it. And if you need a part, you can get it fast, like same-day pickup or next-day delivery fast. At Napa, when we're not thinking about cars, we're thinking about the people who drive them. Because when it comes to serving you and our community, our motor never quits. That's Napa know-how. Same-day pickup and next-day delivery available at participating stores and on in-stock items only.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. Going to take a look at Kansas and Oklahoma's closing cash grain bids. It's Monday, July 26th. We saw some downward pressure on wheat all through the day. Corn and soybeans in the futures markets started off poorly, but managed to rally and finish in the green. Unfortunately, Kansas City wheat stayed low in the cash markets as well, so we'll take a look at all the numbers, and we saw some plus signs with corn, milo, and soybeans at the end of the day. We'll start at Concordia, Kansas today, where the wheat finished at $6.19, the corn $6, milo $5.92, soybeans $13.78. At Goodland, Kansas, the wheat $6.05, corn $6.05, milo $5.60, beans $13.98. Sumner County, the wheat $6.25, the corn finished at $6.30, the milo $6.10, and the beans $13.93. At Garden City, wheat finished up at $6.22, corn $6.35, milo $6, soybeans $13.33. At Fredonia, wheat finished at $6.09, corn $6.44, milo $6.09, beans $13.97. At Belleville, Kansas, $6.09 is where the wheat landed, $5.90 on the corn, make that $5.82 on milo, and $13.68 on soybeans. In Oklahoma, Ponca City, our starting spot, $6.10 on the wheat, $6.26 on the corn, $6 even on milo, and a $13.88 on soybeans. At Enid, Wheat $6.29, milo $6.27, soybeans $13.06 at Panhandle Hooker. Wheat $6.44, corn $6.59, milo $5.99, beans $13.92. Here are the averages: $6.19 the average across Kansas and Oklahoma on wheat. That's down 5. Corn, milo, and soybeans all were up. Corn finished with an average of $6.23, up 2. Milo was at $5.97 across Kansas and Oklahoma. That's up 3. And soybeans finished the day at $13.72. That's up 7. So wheat was down 5, corn up 2, milo up 3, and soybeans up 7. Kansas and Oklahoma closing cash grain bids. Mid-America Ag Network.
Your local weather on KQAM, brought to you by Jewelry Savers. Conveniently located off K96 on Greenwich Road, the Kansas trusted jewelry source since 1971. Jewelry Savers.
A chance for a stray shower or thunderstorm persisting into the afternoon with a mix of sun and clouds in Wichita, and a daytime high right around 92. Southeast breeze at about 5 to 10. Tonight we're clear, quiet and dry, a low near 74. For Tuesday, more sunshine and more heat. High temperature near 96. With your forecast, I'm Cake meteorologist Frank Wall.
That's your latest Cake First Alert weather update on the Big Talker, KQAM.
At 4:06, it's currently 78 degrees.
Fighting for freedom every day.
They are absolutely desperate to pretend the last 4 years never happened and for them to go back to what they liked to do before, which is create these massive spending bills to pretend that it's really, really important to you when you only get about 5% of what's in the bill, and they can't do it because we're aware of it. We're paying attention to it, and they don't like that.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
A Monday, ready to rock and roll. Start off a brand new week, start off a brand new chapter here on the Voice of Reason. Welcome into the program. Great to have you along for the ride today for a Monday, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station all over the country. Radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting, wherever you may be watching or listening. We appreciate you, your millennial general, reporting for duty like we do every day. Although, it is storming here in the Wichita area where we're at, some thunder and some booming outside, and traditionally, we have a tendency to have power issues because radio stations, for some reason, seem to be a beacon for lightning strikes. I don't know why, so we'll see how long we last before things start to get all haywire. But you know what? We live on the edge here on the show, and that's what we love to do. So we'll power through the best that we can when we can, and hopefully we don't go off for you on the show because we got a fun show today for you. I don't know about you. I'm a little hesitant to fly right now. Not just because there are mask mandates, not just because they're going to start implementing vaccine mandates, which we'll get to in a second, being the second-class citizen that we are, you evil, terrible people choosing not to get the COVID-19 vaccine. I know, what a horrible second-class citizen you are, actually wanting to keep your freedom and not do what the government tells you to all the time. How dare you? How dare you? Outside of that, I don't know if you heard or not, but because of the shutting down of the pipeline from a couple months ago, because of the hackers, the oil pipeline that was going to the East Coast, because of that, because of some of the distribution issues with COVID, there is a gasoline shortage. One of the reasons why we're seeing gas prices go up at the pump. Now, the other reason of that was because of inflation and because Joe Biden went from being energy independent like we were under Trump to going back to purchasing foreign oil, which made no sense, but that's what the Democrats like to do, is usually things that don't make a whole lot of sense. Between that, between the inflation, between just not liking energy and wanting to raise prices on that. And I want to remind you, by the way, that with fuel, any type of fuel, when we're like, oh my gosh, it's so expensive at the pump, those evil oil-rich companies. I want to remind you that near 60% of the price that you pay at the pump are taxes. They're not the profit from the oil company. They make some money, obviously, but 60% of what you pay at the pump is actually taxes. Local tax, state tax, federal tax. It's not just gouging you because the oil company wanted to make an extra buck on you, so they raised prices by 20 cents. That's not the way to. Theirs is based on how much they're able to produce it and ship it and do everything else by the barrel, and then the taxes go on top of that. So don't be mad at the oil company. Be mad at the government for taxing you to death on that. And then, of course, inflation and everything else. There's a shortage of gas. And then I saw this headline on CNBC, and here's what it had to say. American Airlines warned about the fuel shortages around the country, asks pilots to conserve. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm flying an airplane, or I'm flying in an airplane. I don't want to be flying one because I don't know how to do that. But if I'm flying in an airplane, I don't want to be in one of those planes where the pilot's like, you know what? Our boss has told us to conserve some fuel because it's really expensive and we may not be able to fill up all the way there because there's a shortage. I think we're going to turn off the engine and coast for a little bit up in the air. I don't know if they would do that. How do you conserve? Do you just like cut flights back? Do you like hit autopilot up in the air and just like let it coast and turn off the engine for a while? I know people that do that in vehicles. Oh, trust me. You want to see some hillbilly stuff there? Go out into the country and see how like you get a like 1970s pickup truck and you go really, really fast through town that doesn't have any stoplights, and then you turn off your gas and you turn off the engine, you coast through the entire town, and you could save money. I may or may not know a few friends that actually do stuff like that. So if that's what we're trying to do in the air, I don't know that I want to go flying anymore. Now, I haven't flown in, I don't know, a year or two, a couple of years, I guess. But if we're trying to conserve fuel, I don't know what that actually consists of. Now, they talk about the fact that they have a shortage at the airports for the airplanes, and they can't quite fill up, and they're talking about delaying, and they have to wait for fuel to get there. And so we should be back at it by, I guess, August-ish. But that's a scary thought. And again, may just have to wait for a little bit until I actually fly anywhere. Welcome into the show. We got the live stream going on all over the place. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch.tv, also on LinkedIn. And we have our Parler. I haven't used Parler in a long time, but we do have the site there as well. OurFreedomBook.com, Instagram, TikTok, all of the social media with the handle at Hooser Reason, and the website at HooserReason.com. Coming up on the program today, bottom of the hour, we have Cliff Oxford. He is the author of the book, The REDNECK Reverie, the rationale for the Trump phenomena. We'll talk about what the Trump phenomenon was and where's it going from here. Is it staying within the party? Do we see it still moving forward? And what's going on? Donald Trump's been ostracized by the social media, pretty much kicked off of any type of platform on the interweb. However, still having a voice within the Republican Party. So they just can't get rid of him. So what's the future of the Trump phenomenon and the Trump movement? We'll talk about that a little bit later on the show. Are you concerned about flying after they actually advocate for the pilots to conserve energy? I mean, I wouldn't fly anyways right now because you have to wear a mask right now to fly, and I wouldn't do that anyways. But I'm telling you, the second-class citizen is coming, not with just air flight, but with COVID in general. If you don't get the vaccine, if you're not masking, you are now a second-class citizen. It's already happening according to California, and according to FoxNews.com, California has now passed or is working to pass the mandated vaccines for coronavirus, where if you're a state worker, a state employee in California, and we have a lot of listeners in California, so listen up, because you should be raising hell. And of course, this is Governor Gavin Newsom trying to save the state of California during his time of recall election to make himself look good and trying to protect humanity. And outside of the bigger metropolitan areas in California, there's a lot of conservative area that I'm sure is just pulling out their hair with some of this news. I know a lot of people that are doing that right now. Here's the headline from Fox News. California state employees and healthcare workers will now need to show proof that they've gotten the COVID-19 vaccine or get tested weekly under new mandates. The new rule, which will take effect starting next month, which is a week away, by the way. They don't say in a week. They're like, no, at the end of the month. Beginning of next month. You got plenty of time. Oh, wait, that's 5 days away. Comes as the state looks to slow the rising number of COVID-19 infections and hospitalizations, primarily affecting those who are not vaccinated, under the number of new cases is still well below the peak. So let me get this straight. The cases are still well below the peak. All the charts that show what the potential peak of this surge could be is only like maybe a quarter of what the peak was before. But yet we need to vaccinate and we need to mask. We see Dr. Fauci now coming out telling people to wear the mask even if you're vaccinated. My response is, then what the hell is the point of getting the vaccine? If the mask works, which it doesn't, by the way, but if the mask works, then why are you getting vaccinated? Because now you need to get the vaccine and wear the mask, according to Dr. Fauci. What's the point of the vaccine? Now, I found an interesting piece, and it was an opinion piece out of the Wall Street Journal talking about science, because what do you hear from the naysayers about the mask, the ones that are totally about the mask, the ones that are totally about the vaccine? And if you don't, they're just not like, you do your thing and I'll do mine and we'll live happily ever after. No, theirs is, if you don't do what we want you to, then you're literally wanting to kill people because you're a selfish jerk. I'm telling you, there are surprisingly more individuals that have that mindset than what you would expect. It's not you do you and I do me, and if you don't do what I want you to, then I'll just stay away and live my life. It's no, you need to do what I'm wanting you to do by wearing the mask and getting the vaccine, and if you don't, then you are a horrible human being that just wants people dying in the streets. And they used the idea of science. Well, I believe in science. Remember that? That was Joe Biden's tweet during the election. I believe in science, and Donald Trump doesn't. It's simple, folks. Remember? Hey, come on, man. Just get the vaccine.
Come on, man.
Yeah, now that's the same guy that said he wouldn't get the vaccine if Donald Trump came out with the vaccine. But now we need to get the vaccine because he's telling us to do so instead of Donald Trump, and everything's going to be hunky-dory. But they base it just on science. It's science says so. Now, unfortunately, for those that actually understand a little bit about science, science is not a settled thing. Science is like philosophy. Science is like religion. Science is like everything else. You can look at it and interpret it different ways, and science is never settled. If science was settled, then back in the Middle Ages, we would have just kept the consensus that the Earth was flat. Although there is a new rising movement that people thinking the Earth is flat. You should follow them on TikTok. They're really hysterical. They're like, we have proof that the Earth is flat. And look at this. You know, there's Antarctica is the barrier for the world so the water doesn't tip off the Earth and actually fall into space. I follow them. They're quite entertaining. They're hilarious. But if science was settled, then we would never have changed the mindset that the Earth was flat. If science was settled, we never would have changed the mindset that the universe and the sun and the stars revolve around the Earth. If science was settled, we would still think that, I don't know, that the sky was red because someone said so one day and everything was all hunky-dory. Science is never settled. Science always evolves. Science understands things, and it grows as we learn more about things. I mean, what was the smallest thing that we thought before? Remember, it was the atom, and it was the atom and the nucleus of the atom, and then the different protons, the neutrons and the protons that revolve. Yeah, I remember my 7th grade science class. How about you? But I remember that. That's not the smallest thing in the world now. If science was settled, we would never know about black energy out in the universe. I don't know. There's some really cool stuff out there. But if science was settled, we would never continuously evolve and have a better understanding of the world around us. So science continuously evolves, but it's how you interpret it. Now, I've told you this many times before, but the way science is done today is even different, which is why we need to look at how the science is done in order to interpret what the science actually says. Back in the day, and if you remember your science class back in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, you would have a hypothesis. I believe the sky is blue. And then you would use that hypothesis to run a series of tests and then find the result and be like, wow, I was right because of X, Y, and Z and these parameters, or I was wrong because I ran these tests and they came out with this result based on these parameters. It's not how science is done nowadays. I hate to break it. Some is, but if it's government involved in any way, shape, or form, whether it's the government funding it or government using it, that's not how science is done. The way science is done now is they come to a scientist in a university that's funded by the government, state government, federal government. They come to the professor and they say, hey, we need a test done with this result. We need a test done that has this answer at the end. Craft the test however you want to come up with this result so we can use it as a study to say science proves X, Y, and Z. And here's $1 million grant for you to do it. That's how science is done nowadays. It's not trying to test the good and bad and everything in between to test it and see if it works. No. It's here's what the end result needs to be. Now craft the test to make it work that way. So then they come to the media and they come to the press conferences and they say, hey, the science is settled. 99% of scientists believe in man-made climate change. Look at this. Science confirms that the little cloth mask that doesn't stop anything will stop the most deadly virus in human history with the COVID-19 pandemic. Look at this. Science has confirmed it. That's science today. There's a piece out of the Wall Street Journal in the opinion section about science as a philosophy versus science as an institution. Two very different things, because while the other side starts bickering to you about we believe in science, they look at a small fraction of the science and say, look at the evidence here. It's just like looking at stats or inflation rates or taxation in the world of politics, to where conservative can look at it and be like, wow, taxes are way too high, and look at that. Those numbers continue to go up based on inflation and what it's going to do to the economy. Democrats look at it and say, wow, look at that. It's almost there. We're not quite there yet, and look at that. Those evil rich people aren't paying their fair share. Two completely different perspectives on a single bit of information. That's science today. So don't use the argument of the science is settled, that I believe in science, because that just means you're using it as a philosophy where you have no idea what you're talking about, and you're just using it to twist it to your own very own opinion. And I'm not okay with that. Let's get back to the real science. What do you say?
Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. NBC Baseball is back underway August 4th through the 14th, and your home for all your favorite games are on the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM KQAM. Join KQAM for the 87th NBC World Series every evening as we cover your primetime game of the nights. Teams from all over the country have come back to Kansas to show off their skills. It's the NBC World Series August 4th through the 14th, and it's all right here on the Big Talker KQAM, presented in part by Central Auto Repair and Electric, Ray Roofing, and American Family Insurance Brad Woody Agency.
Ready to grab your keys and hit the road this summer? Make your first stop Rusty Eck Ford for our road trip and sales event.
Rusty Eck Ford still has the inventory to get you into the new Ford car, truck, or SUV you're looking for. Buy with zero money down or get up to $2,000 equity cash on the spot for your vehicle. No purchase necessary. But don't miss out on the inventory still on our lot. Buy with zero money down or get out of your current lease with up to $2,000 equity cash on the spot. Rusty Eck Ford still has the inventory to get you into the new Ford car, truck, or SUV you're looking for.
Hurry, your summer road trip is waiting. Rush into Rusty Eck Ford. If you don't come see us today, we can't save you any money. RustyEckFord.com.
Offers valid on select in-stock vehicles with approved credit plus tax and fees. Not all qualify. Offer to buy contingent on current equity and leased vehicles subject to dealer final appraisal. All Ford rebates to dealer. See dealer for details. Offers expire 7/31/21.
Jeremy Edwards with Norris Collision Center of Goddard explains the Norris Collision Center difference.
That small door ding that's been bothering them since they bought the car, the air noise that it's always had since they've bought the car. We'll go over and above what just the insurance company says, just to make sure it's a very memorable experience inside and off on, because we can afford to do that. We can take the time, as much time as we want, to make sure it's perfect.
Norris Collision Center of Goddard. See more at norriscollisioncenter.com.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
24 minutes past the hour. Welcome back into the program. By the way, I don't know if you noticed or not, if you are watching the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter.com, Twitch.tv, also on the website at HooserReason.com, we are slowly but surely upgrading some of the features on here, and we got some new flashy things on the show. Make sure to check that out. That's kind of awesome. Coming up, bottom of the hour, Cliff Oxford. He'll be joining us talking about the Trump phenomenon. Where do we go from here with the Trump movement? That'll be interesting to see, and we'll have some fun with that one. Saw a comment on the stream, which you can do also at the Podbean if you download the Podbean app, where we have our podcast as well. You can also listen to the live stream on there and leave some comments. You can also email me, HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. It seems like they're reverse engineering the scientific method nowadays. They are. They're doing it completely 180 degrees backwards, which is what most progressives do anyways, but that's how science is done nowadays. You don't have the, I think this, so therefore let me test that theory by running a bunch of tests and trying to debunk it. It's kind of like when you go ghost hunting. For anybody that's gone ghost hunting, and yes, Mrs. Voice of Reason and I have done that many times. We ran a team ourselves. It's very fascinating. Another topic for another time. But what you do is when you believe a place is haunted, a house, a venue, or whatever, then you go in there and you use all the equipment to try to debunk it. All right, there's a weird sound. Is it a pipe ticking? Is it a window that's being scratched by a tree? Is it a cat that's clawing at the carpet? What's going? You try to debunk the idea. That's the way science is supposed to be done. It's not nowadays. Again, the universities get the grant money, $1 million from the federal government. Hey, guess what? Shh. We need this. We need this result. We need this test. We need this science to show that this is what's going on. So that way we can promote this legislation. We have a bunch of money coming in here. We need to, give this money to certain companies that are rubbing our backs. They donated to my campaign. Got to make sure they're all happy. All right, good. Good. Year later, look at this. We have the science that is settled. COVID-19 vaccines work 60% of the time. The Delta variant's more contagious. It's less deadly. Shut up! Can't say that. It's more contagious. Wait a second, the peak's going back up. It's nowhere near the peak before. It's like 20% of what the peak was at this peak of this different surge of COVID. But we need to be scared and get the vaccine. Therefore, the state of California, all you healthcare workers and all you State Department workers and state employees, you need to get the vaccine, or you need to prove and do weekly or daily tests with COVID-19 testing. At least 238,000 state employees and 2 million healthcare workers across the public and private sectors will be subject to the new mandate, according to Fox News. I'm just using my little psychic sensors right now. I'm guessing there's going to be litigation there. Or maybe not. I don't know. I mean, healthcare workers, only 30% have actually gotten vaccinated within the healthcare industry? I don't remember. Don't quote me on that number. It was like 30, 40%. It was ridiculously low of the number of actual healthcare workers that have not gotten the vaccine because maybe they know what's in it. Maybe they're concerned as well. I don't know. But a lot of healthcare workers, people working in the healthcare industry, bombarded by COVID-19 pandemic individuals, patients right now, have not gotten the COVID-19 vaccine. So you're going to mandate hospitals on what to do with their employees. I'm sensing litigation there. Could be wrong, but my little psychic spidey senses are telling me there's going to be litigation. But of course, it's going to go to the California Supreme Court. They're going to rule in favor of the government because it's a pandemic and you get to, ignore human rights and individual personal choices when it comes to a health crisis for the community. And therefore, you just need to go along with it. Why can't you just get on board and do what we tell you to do? Because science is now a philosophy as opposed to an institution. And that's where we're at today. I'm telling you, the second-class citizen is coming. And it's not just California. It's going to be everywhere. Businesses trying to implement mask mandates again. State governments all over the country. Right here in the state of Kansas where I'm at. Our Democrat governor trying to find a way to implement it again. Luckily, our state legislature put a kibosh on that in the legislative session this year. But states looking at it again. It's coming back. When Fauci says, well, we don't want to, but I kind of recommend. When he says that, that means it's time again. Vaccinated people getting to wear masks all over again, which reiterates the question, why'd you get the vaccine in the first place if you still have to wear the mask? Because the mask works so well, we still have the virus spreading to vaccinated people.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, We're there for you. Find us at Hoosier Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hoosier Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HoosierReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hoosier Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book, Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast, Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hoosier Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosierholic by going to HoosierReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HoosierReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hoosier Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HoosierReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today on your Monday, the greatest day of the entire week. I don't care what anybody else says. I don't care. It's the day that sets the tone for the entire week. I'm the eternal optimist. I am super excited, and let's get this ball rolling. What do you say here on the Voice of Reason? Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag, trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time, because that's what we do. Cliff Oxford, not able to get a hold of him right now. We've had some interesting, but we were trying a new program for this. I had never done this before, but apparently there's like a Google Meet, kind of like a Zoom thing. We tried getting connected on there, wasn't able to do so, so I'm going to try and get him on the phone here in just a minute. Love to talk to Cliff, but I was trying something different, trying to get up with technology. Come on, Andy, get with the 21st century. I've told you, I was definitely born in the wrong time era. Definitely born in the wrong time era. For a guy using technology for a radio program every single day, I have a very difficult time with technology sometimes. We use Skype sometimes on the program, and you can see the live video there on the live stream that we do on social media and on TV as well. But we were trying to do Google meetings, and which was really kind of neat, and it wasn't quite working, or I was on the wrong channel, or he was on the wrong channel. I don't know, but we didn't get connected, so we'll try and get him on the show here in just a little bit. But that's all right, because it's a Monday, and we have some things to kind of set the tone for this week, because as we talk about California with the COVID-19 vaccine mandate, we have some really cool stuff coming up this weekend. Hold on, as I slide across the studio and back. Let's see. Mike Cargile, he is a congressional candidate for the state of California. He'll be joining us on Wednesday this week to talk, and I want to pick his brain on some of the politicking that's going on in the state. Plus, you may know this guy, too. He's a great social media influencer, if that's what you call him nowadays, a podcaster, and a new author, and also candidate in, I believe, the state of Virginia, West Virginia, but Graham Allen. Graham Allen, he's a big social media guy. I follow him. He's a great dude. We have him on the program on Thursday this week, too. So we got some really, really cool guests coming out on the program. You're not going to want to miss a single day of this week. So as we talk about California, I was not aware of this. So please help me out, because I was not. I'm assuming this started in California, as I'm sure, because they're new, they're hip, they're woke, they're retro, whatever you want to call them. But there's a new headline from Fox News about congressional Republicans that are proposing a bill to ban federal-funded universities to get money that offer the abortion pill to students. Hold on here. Now, I'm assuming this started in California because they just give everything out there. Heck, they give drugs to homeless bums out there just because we'd rather you do it in a controlled setting as opposed to overdosing underneath a bridge. But yet we can't get, insulin. Yet we can't get cancer. So not that I want free health care, because that's not what I want, because that's stupid, because, having a universal healthcare system is one of the dumbest things that you could possibly do. But if you're going to give stuff out, fill in the blank. But here's the story from Fox News. Republicans in the House and Senate proposed a measure on Wednesday last week that would revoke federal funding for colleges that provide the abortion pill. Look, I've been in college, let's see, it was 2007 to 2009. I did 2 years of a 4-year state university, didn't do very well, and then left that to go into broadcasting school because apparently I couldn't do it in the educational higher ed type of situation and environment. because we're just those hillbillies that just don't do good in higher education. Nonetheless, I don't remember getting that memo from the university saying that if you knock somebody up, they automatically get the abortion pill if you offer it to them at the state university. I didn't know that was a thing. Now, that's been close to 10 years, I guess, ish. No, it's been more than that. Let's see, 2009, or 2007 to 2009, that would have been 10 years. Holy cow, I feel really old today. Thanks very much for that reminder. Back then, I don't remember hearing about an abortion pill. Maybe that's a new thing at state universities. Now, believe what you want to about abortion. I'm not here to tell you one right, one wrong, whatever, but it's a personal choice that needs to be done with doctors and the family, and yet you're going to tell a 19-year-old freshman or 20-year-old sophomore or whatever that's going to college that if you get pregnant, then you can just go and take the abortion pill. Is there a form you got to fill out? Is there some type of approval you need to get from the parents? Like, I did not know this was a thing. This is kind of blowing my mind for a second here, as Republicans are wanting to end federal funding for these state universities. Now, that's not going to happen. Democrats control Congress right now. We still have Title IX, or what is it, Title 10, whatever it is with the abortion for the Planned Parenthood and that sort of thing. So it's not going to go anywhere. It's a good measure that Republicans are bringing an awareness to this, because people like me were not aware this kind of thing was actually going on. The bill, quote, be another important step in the right direction to help save the lives of the unborn and protect the safety of our girls, according to Congresswoman Mary Miller from Illinois. She, along with Representative Chip Roy from Texas and Senator Steve Daines from Montana, proposed the legislation as Congress deliberates over what's included in the federal budget for next year. Two things here. Number one, I'm really glad we're finally starting to talk about appropriations process at the federal level on what's going to be included in the next federal budget. And this is an interesting topic that I didn't think was going to be included because I didn't know it was actually there. What I expected the conversation to look like was going to be extension of the COVID-19 unemployment benefits because the economy's just not there yet. Additional stimulus payments because, well, the economy's just not there and people aren't back to work yet. Even though we have a labor shortage and record number of jobs available across the nation, we don't have it quite. We need another stimulus. I'm assuming that they're going to talk about an extension of the child tax credits being automatically deposited into your checking account, even if you didn't formally qualify to actually get the child tax credit prior to. It's just now not a tax credit, but just a handout for you to take care of your children. Because they wanted to go to the, and I get it, child care is very expensive, but they wanted to go to child care and for K through 12, or, kindergarten and preschool and programs and other sort of things of daycare for every day. They want it to go towards that, so it's going to go from a child tax credit to just the what? Universal basic income. Those are the conversations that are being had, I'm sure, and that we need to have. But if this is going on, then sure, try to include it. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to be included. We got to be realists here as conservatives. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to be included, but we need to bring the awareness because maybe there's going to be enough people that see this and say, the heck, man, I didn't know this was actually happening. The part of the bill is titled the Protecting Life on College Campus Act of 2021. Could we at least be a little more creative on those? I know Democrats try to be like, the Save America bill to make it all sound heart-throbbing and heart-bleeding, but at the same time, like protecting life on college campus, we could be a little more creative as conservatives. I think that's our one downfall is that we don't appeal to the general public in a very creative and entertaining way sometimes. The House version reads, quote, no federal funds may be awarded to any institution of higher education that hosts or is affiliated with any school-based service site that provides abortion drugs or abortion care to students of the institution or to the employees of the institution or site. It's cute. It's great. I support it. It's not going to go anywhere. But let's look a little bit deeper here, shall we? Let's understand what kind of environment we're creating at the universities. What's the big threat right now, according to the left, at state universities? Right now, it's ultra-masculinity. I know. It's white privilege and it's ultra-masculinity. If you are a white individual, you're already privileged, and you need to apologize for that in your white privilege confession booth, and you need to go to confessions and you need to apologize to the minority race and all this other garbage. The second part is if you're a male that's white, then you are an ultra-masculine guy that's just trying to do what you can to appeal to the opposite sex because hormones are running rampant at 19 and 20 years old. I know it's a wild thought. But there's ultra masculinity by guys doing stupid stuff trying to gain the attention of the female species, because that's what it is, an entirely different species. And if it didn't work, we would have died out and gone extinct thousands of years ago. But that's the way we gain the attention of the female race, is to do stupid things, to be the adrenaline junkie, to try and start fights, to try and be macho, to try, I guess nowadays it's like you can play video games really well or something. I don't know, or like sniffing condoms or eating Tide Pods. I don't know what the cool hip thing is because I'm totally old. I've just realized I'm not a date now. But there's got to be a way for guys to attract the female species, because that's just the way biology works. But if you do that now, then you're an ultra-masculine jerk and need to go to the ultra-masculinity confession booths. Now, take that mindset that men are evil and that there's rape culture going on campus and that every woman is going to get raped there, every woman is going to be harassed there, every woman is going to be molested there, because that's what the left tries to play off. And it does happen, don't get me wrong. It does happen, which is why instead of trying to belittle the men, we should try to teach how to defend the women and have women defend themselves with certain, rape tests or the drug test to make sure they're not getting, roofied, or, personal responsibility, or even the wild concept of being able to conceal carry on campus so they can protect themselves that way, or wearing a taser or something. We should be empowering these women, but instead we have the men that are just being belittled all the time. Now, you go to the university with that mindset. Rape culture, harassment, sexual molestation, whatever else, the men are always evil, they're always going to be attacking the women. Then you say, you get a girl pregnant, we have services right here to give you an abortion on the spot and give you a pill. You don't even have to tell your parents. For the commonsensical thinking-minded individual, let me ask you, does that further incentivize, or does that decentivize the male from wanting to attack the woman? I'm assuming that if you're a guy wanting to attack a woman because you don't know how to control yourself and you're kind of a jerk, and now you have a free pass of, even if I rape someone, then all they got to do is get an abortion and they'll be fine. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm assuming that's going to incentivize more of the culture that the left says that they actually want to get rid of. But they do everything opposite in order to stop it, by actually not allowing women to conceal and carry, by actually not providing, abortion pills, and just saying personal responsibility, make sure you're protected, as in protected of, using a firearm or making sure you don't get roofied because of individual responsibility. We get rid of that, give them an abortion pill, and be like, gee, I wonder why there's such a crazy rape culture on campus. Again, the left side just a little bit loony here, aren't they?
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
–
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
It is concerning how much that we have divided ourselves and just done really, really dumb things I've never anticipated. Now, again, I'm a millennial. I'm 32 years old. I don't like to say that very often because I get a lot of, shunning from the talk radio industry and from listeners because, well, you're young, you're not inexperienced, you don't know what you're talking about. And I worked really, really hard to try and prove that otherwise by proving we know what we're talking about and we can keep it entertaining and enlightening all at the same time by trying to represent this new generation. Regardless, being a millennial, and even though I'm a little bit on the younger level, I guess-ish, although I don't feel it today by any means, my curiosity has now been piqued of what is the next victimization of society going to be? And I'm being sarcastic, at the same time I'm being serious as well. What is the next form of identity victimization going to be? We've already done the race thing. We've already done the gender thing. We've already done the skin color thing. We've already done the religion thing. We've already done the not just gender thing, but now the ultra genderism of like ultra masculinity and based on your hormones. And if you're trying to, do the normal thing of doing stupid stuff to appeal to a female or vice versa. Come on. Don't tell me that women don't go out of their way to attract men either, right? Wear something a little bit skimpy, flaunt a little bit, walk a little bit slower. Yeah, come on. You know that women try to appeal to men just as much as men, try to jump off roofs with a skateboard to try to appeal to women. I don't know how it's attractive, but women are like, oh my gosh, he's so stupid. I think I'm going to date the guy. It's like trying to date an athlete, the meathead. Hey, how'd the game go? Yeah, I ran really good. Yeah, I threw the ball and I caught it and then I got tackled and I ran really hard. Yeah, it's good. That's like the interview of an athlete after a game. And then the women are like, oh my gosh, he's so awesome. I don't get it. But women do the same thing to guys. So after all of that, what could possibly be next? I don't know, because you know what's going to happen. Right now I take that back. Right now the latest is, of course, the COVID thing. Because now it's the identity politics, but then it's also if you're a mask wearer or an anti-masker, of what they call a bare face in society today. Bare face! Yeah. And then it's the vaccine of trying to isolate you. You haven't been vaccinated, so therefore you're part of the second class as well. So we're going to divide you from there. But between race, between religion, between gender, between sexual orientation, between lifestyle of firearms or non-firearms, of driving certain cars, if you drive a Prius or if you drive a truck, if you actually have a generator or a non-generator, if you eat certain foods, if you get the vaccine, if you wear the mask, they've marginalize people to such tiny little fractions. Number one, it's not sustainable, which is why the Democrats are imploding right now. But I'm curious, and you can email me at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment on the social streams right now with the live feed. What is going to be the next identity politics of victimization? I'm a victim. You're evil over there. We don't like you. We're going to marginalize you. We're going to silence you. We're going to keep you from actually participating in the norm and the cool parts of society. I don't know what it is. But something will come up. Don't worry. Something will happen, and we'll just have to kind of go along and shake our head and call them dumb for doing it all over again. But the race thing's always going to be kind of the base common denominator here. There was a new book that apparently has come out by a quote-unquote New York Times bestselling author, Robin DiAngelo, where she goes off on racist things and talks about how white privilege and white people are evil and so on and so forth. She's written a book about how if you're in comedy and a stand-up comedian, that comedy is a way to excuse racism, because then you, what they call stepping up and actually making it more exaggerated for the comedy, is that you actually get to excuse racism by being a stand-up comic. This is what this lady says, this Robin DiAngelo, the quote-unquote New York Times bestseller. She says, according to Fox News, declaring that if it's okay to quote-unquote punch up by mocking white people, that's okay. But it's racist to mock people of color in stand-up comedy by punching up the stories about minority individuals. Comedy is, I think, an excuse to be racist, right? She told during a podcast interview. The White Fragility author, she said, quote, I think TV shows like Family Guy and South Park and maybe a little bit of The Simpsons allow white people to be racist self-consciously. Like, I know I'm being racist and therefore it doesn't count and it's okay. Now, I don't know if you realize what the purpose of comedy is, and stand-up comedy is to actually expose cultural issues, to make fun of them, and to challenge the way culture works and society works, because that's what comedy does in a lighthearted, funny way, but it's supposed to make you think all at the same time. So if you're talking about those issues, it's to bring an awareness to the issue, not to actually just make fun of certain people. Although some people do that in stand-up comedy, and sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not. From everybody. Again, I'm the drunken Irishman that likes to brawl. Guess what? Ha ha! It's kind of funny. It's also kind of true. But nothing's okay. What's the next victimization going to be on identity politics? Who knows? Only time will tell. That does it for us today. Podcast going up a little bit. We got a heck of a show lined up for you the rest of the week. Stay tuned in here. Until then, be your own voice of reason. This is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of the Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already,